Oh, smokestack lightning, shining just like gold. Lauren G. Graham. Oh, oh, oh. Hey, everybody. What are we doing out there? Intro music. Happy Sunday. And welcome to Dead Dodge Garage Live. The, what did I call it? Oh, it actually says it right there. Chargers, Barracudas, and endless projects. Oh my. Looks like most of the gang's here right on time. Lovejoy's here. Howdy. Did you mail me a pipe yet? Avon is here. Yeah, I thought I'd play guitar for a minute. Scooters joined us yet again and says, hi. Get any good VHS tapes in the mail lately? And of course, Dan is here with us. Hello, Dan. How's it going? Oh, that's funny. I am the gang. Dan emailed me, I think earlier today or maybe last night, to tell me he found a small block Mopar tunnel ram for sale, which is funny because I already bought one. So I guess we're good. Yeah, called that one. Adam's watching tape auctions. Checks out. Phantom Pinecone is here and says, well, this is fancy. Avon also said, howdy, howdy. That's a double howdy. So many howdies. Long Island Mopars is with us and says, sounded like Justin Johnson. Good stuff. I actually don't know who Justin Johnson is. That, of course, Smokestack Lightning from Howlin' Wolf's Electric album, which he does not like. I just never get the hat straight. It's a problem. I am the gang. I was going to grab Prudence from the shop, but then I forgot. So we just have Super Duck. He's in the gang. Dan Berg is here. Hello, Dan. How you doing? Ross says, present. I should start doing roll call. That would be funny. We're not allowed to actually start until everyone's here. Oh, excuse me. Lovejoy wants to know when he can pick up the Barracuda. Dan Berg says he calls dibs on the Barracuda. Greg Loy commented and said, you should fix up that Barracuda and trade it to me for my 1991 W250 Cummins truck. To which I responded, what engine do you want in it? So I'm eagerly awaiting Greg Loy's response. Evie Queen is here and says, "Hi, I'm Timmy." Hello, Timmy. How you doing? What's good? Anyway, to answer your question, Lovejoy and Dan, apparently there's going to be a bidding war. I don't even know what I'm going to do with it just yet. Sell it to one of you guys, I guess. Long Island Mopars says, Justin Johnson's a modern-day blues player. He's got a great channel, too, for blues music. I'll be damned. I've said this several times. What was I going to say? Oh, yeah. All of Dead Dog's Garage is just a tool to launch my music career. Something like that. Anyway. Stage Zero Garage is here with us. Stage Zero Garage, of course, the new owner of my 79 Dodge Stepside. And he says, be sure to tell us about that Duster in the CUDA video. That Duster is for sale on Facebook right now. It's Tom's. He's had several interested parties. He's got it listed for $3,500. It's got a title. It's EV2 orange, original bucket seat. It's got a bunch of options. I think it had air conditioning too. But it was a slant 6. Crazy noises happening in the kitchen. But anyway, it's pretty neat. It's rust light. I wouldn't say it's perfect by any means. There's rust in the trunk lid, but it has a spare. There's some rust in the lower fenders, but we have spares. I think there's a spare grill. There's a lot of good stuff with it. The bucket seats are gone, unfortunately. But no, it's not going to drive to Wisconsin because there's no engine in it or transmission. But we got options for that, so you know. That's all you. Stacy is here. Good evening, Stacy. How you doing? Stacy messaged me earlier today also, looking at a 74 Charger up there in whatever clever thing we're calling Canada today. That he thought was well overpriced, and I personally think it's probably not that far off. It's a little high, but it looks super solid and straight. Way, way better than the Toolbox Charger. Stan Nelson wants to know, what are we talking about today? Same thing we're always talking about, Stan. Cars, guitars, small block Chryslers, overheating seized brake calipers, something else we usually talk about, but I can't think of it. Anyway. I see Ross is probably using an iPhone. Mine constantly corrects Barracuda to Barracuda. And I just like, why? It makes no sense. Anyway, make that Barracuda a driver, and some Rust Belt guy will make you, very happy. Indeed. And that's my plan. I got to figure out the paperwork situation because unfortunately it is missing the title. Oh, yes. Oh, Rooster, I missed your, I don't know what I did. I didn't click on your first message. I don't know why. It's because the guys were already fighting over the Barracuda. But anyway, Rooster said, oh, hello. Speaking of intakes, you got one sitting here. Yeah, dual quad low deck, big block, manifold. Still don't know what I'm going to do with it, but I need it in my life. And Rooster actually got his own Screaming Goat. Did you know that you guys could just buy a Screaming Goat on the internet? You too could have your own Prudence. Anyway, because I don't have Prudence, he sent me a video. See if I can get it to open. There we go. Maybe.
You did bring Prudence.
There we go.
How about her sister?
Thank you. I see you got her ear glued back on. She lost an ear in shipping. Yeah. Much appreciated. Oh, what's going on? What's going on here? I got an eyelash or something. This is what I would look like if I got LASIK. Barracuda fingers. What does that mean? I don't know what that means. Dan says, really cool merch. What does that mean? Prudence toys? Yeah. What's funny about you saying that, Avon, is that's actually how I do it now. Every single time I type out Barracuda, it corrects it to bed. Just saw your next message. It corrects it to Barracuda. But I have a guy in my phone because the way I manage life is I put car guy things, right? The name doesn't really matter, but what car they have or what parts they have or what you're buying from them or what you're selling to them or whatever. Oh, I just got the bad service logo. Hopefully you guys can still see me. Anyway, it's always like, you know, Dan has Duster parts or Bob 66 Barracuda. So there's a guy in my phone and his last name is Barracuda parts. So I always just click on that, then hit space, then back up 6-7 spots and good to go. Anyway. Lovejoy says, how about I drive down there, we Magnum swap it, and I drive it home. I like the way you think. So I'm going to guess that it's way more solid than your car is then. The thing is, it's also way more solid than my car is. And now I'm thinking I should just build the gold one. And the Davis boys, one of them, both of them, they both want the garbage can back. So just sell it back to them and do the gold one instead. It's a way better car. So I don't know. It's not even here yet. It's still at Rocket. A couple of people have said that they hate the idea of me putting a 66 nose on it, but I have it and it's complete and I'm pretty sure it's gold. Although I haven't seen it for a couple of years. So I might just have to do that anyway. I would prefer the earlier front end, but it is what it is. Yeah, Stacy says, the more I think about it, the more I think that 74 isn't as overpriced as I initially thought. Honestly, I'd slap some seats in it, my spare set of slots, and drive it as it is. Shiny paint is overrated. Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, I think there's a little room for negotiation there. But yeah. Stan says with the old plate, that will help with paperwork. I don't think it will. Not in Washington. There are ways of solving the problem. Let's just say that. Dan has a note on that as well. Seen a few solutions on lost title situation. Some lawyers' counter opinions. Yeah. Well, I don't know what to think of that. But yeah, there are definitely some different options. Let's just say that. And several I'm considering. I'm something of an eyelash myself. I have several in each eye, usually. So. Oh, Ross says, not predictive spelling, fat fingers. Well, I think it must be such a common fat finger thing. Or maybe it's just what my phone does. If you know iPhone, which I do a little bit, by which I mean I watched the original keynote speech announcing the iPhone. Anyway, their keyboard is intentionally predictive. And it doesn't show you this, but what it's doing is making the area for every given letter bigger or smaller based on an algorithm. And so you will be trying to reach for the R, but it will just assume you want the T. So it makes the T bigger. So even though you're trying to hit the R, you get the T. It's really stupid. But, you know, it also works fairly well. There's a method behind the madness. Garrett Weston is here. Garrett Weston is the gentleman that owns that Dakota RT that keeps having oxygen sensor codes. Garrett says, what up? Digging how the videos are being edited lately. The hard work shows. Your openings are great. Awesome. Thank you. I'm glad someone appreciates it. Yeah, I've been doing things a little bit differently. Just trying to keep it fresh and exciting and, you know, I'm trying to put on a good show. I did say I was going to do that, improve things, and I'm not going commercial. But yeah, I'm putting the time in, using this here laptop to the best of my abilities. Anyway, thanks. Avon says, on my phone, long pressing the word in the suggestion banner thingy lets you remove it from the dictionary. Doesn't keep you from accidentally adding it back, sadly. That's a bummer. But I didn't know that. Is that Android? Or is that iPhone? Lovejoy says, mine's rust light as well. I'm just missing a front clip. Ah, yeah, common problem. Someone commented on the gold car and said something to the effect of, does any car you buy come with a front end attached? For the most part, no. Dave Duck is here and says, what up on fire, Caliper Duck? Yeah, I kind of alluded to that a minute ago here. Yeah, Dave was taking his swinger, 344 speed swinger, to his mechanic friend who lives like 40 miles away or something. And he was having sticky brake problems. And I kind of foreshadowed this too, because he said he was going to drive it out there to him. And I said something to the effect of, well, is it going to make it that far? And he said, oh yeah, it's fine. It's only when you like hard stop, you're coming down off the highway or whatever, you know, I'll just take it really easy. Okay. Well, then he gets right up to almost the exit and basically his brakes caught on fire. So yeah, not good. Luckily, he got it put out. Something about dirt on the side of the road. Yeah, good times. So it's a really, really nice car. In fact, we were talking about it last week. That's the one that someone offered him an obscene amount of money for, and he just realized, I cannot do it. Cannot do it. So he said no. But as I told him in all of this, because he's working through issue after issue, and he's like, man, that my car is perfect. My car is dialed. It's good to go. Well, yeah, maybe it is, but it's still an old car, and it's not going to stay. It's not going to stay perfect. I don't care how nice it is. Anyway, that's the lesson. Even nice cars have problems. Rooster says, sure wish someone would buy my rust-free 67 GTX 444 speed Dana car and my rust-free 73 Charger. As long as I'm wishing, make it stop snowing. I'm assuming by where you are that that's a joke. If your 67 GTX is really rust-free, well, I'll think about it. Ross says they don't like the 66 front on a 64. They'd have had a coronary when my brother and his cohorts put a 64 Fury nose on a 64 Coronet. Yeah, they probably would. I don't see it that way. Ah, yeah, here we go. Long Island Mopar says 64 Fury clip on a 64 Coronet sounds like you just made a Canadian Mopar. Exactly. That's also how they made the Dodge Demon and the Plymouth Scamp. I mean, it works. My Barracuda, of course, has a 66 Dart nose, which is totally wrong. And I don't really like it. I wanted to put the Plymouth nose back on it, but I was talked out of it. The Dart fender is really cool because it's got the Go Fast scoopies on it, kind of like the Charger. So, you know, it's neat and it's very unique. But of course, any Barracuda around here is unique. Yeah, so that's not really a worry. But anyway, I'm not bothered by that kind of thing. And I know that an A-body is an A-body, and it's going to bolt on there and work fine, and all the lines will look right. And, you know, doesn't bug me. I like the earlier front end more, but I'd also like it to be a whole car. So, yeah. Having said that, Ross also thought the Fury nose on the Coronet was sacrilege. Yeah, I like the Coronet nose more for sure. I actually really like 63 Plymouth B-body though. I think they're cool. And I don't know why, because, well, they're not as ugly as 62, but they're still not extremely attractive cars. But I just like those funky lights on the edge. I think it's better looking than 64. And I like the 63 hardtop roof. 64, they added the bubble back window. The post car, the two-door sedan, still has the other roof, and I like that more. But yeah, I think 63 B-body might be the sweet spot in that generation. Excuse me. Always with the burping. Dave wants to know, how was the gig? Pretty good. I got blisters on my fingers, so that's good. Tiff, that does most of the singing in the band, like almost completely lost her voice. That was pretty brutal. But yeah, it was good. We didn't have like a packed house, but it was a good crowd. Pretty sweet. Then we tried to go to a nice local bar that has absolutely excellent food afterward, and we missed their kitchen by like 12 minutes. So instead, we went to Denny's. And it was remarkably good. All in the name of rock. And it's funny too, because that Denny's is where we used to go hang out after the shows, 15 plus years ago. That was the spot for all the young hipsters. Rocco Bukako is here with us again and says, yo, what's shaking? Just normal stuff. Rock and roll. Loose cars and fast women. That sort of thing. Kevin Ramsey is here as well. Hiya, I'm your what? Rooster says, I'll email you pics of the 67. It's on Craigslist now in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Very cool. Yeah, Ross, I get that. Yeah, I actually had a little petty 64 Fury, but I gave it to my brother because he actually owns a 64 Fury. In fact, I've kind of teased it on video a couple times. I've done just little clips. I haven't done a video on it. I'd kind of like to. I've been meaning to do videos on all of his cars since I started the channel. He's got the 64 Fury. He did a 4-speed conversion because he does a 3-pedal conversion on everything. It's just like a mental tick or something. It's got it did have a decent motor in it. And then he took that out. He sometimes does this thing where he takes cars and like shuffles the drivetrains and suspensions and stuff like that. So it had the good motor, but now the good motor is in the 67 Valiant 2-door sedan. And that's a really neat build too. So I'd really like to feature that on the channel one of these years. Anyway, so the Fury got leftovers. It has a smoky 318 roller cam engine with the roller cam removed from our Winnebago van because we did a Magnum swap in the Winnebago van. And that thing is a heavy smoker. It is atrocious. In fact, in the Volare video, which was pretty popular, actually, he drove by in that car. And then like a minute later, it was when I was airing up the tire. Like a minute later, I said something like, it smells strongly of burning oil. Yeah, that's why. And the smell just lingers. It's so bad. Anyway, having said that, it's pretty cool. And yeah, I kind of like Richard Petty, but all I have is the wing car here right at the moment. Anywho. Oh, yeah, Dave's with us, and he says, or it's only a front end. Hey, I was going to text you earlier. I think I'm going to be down there on Tuesday. Of course, I suppose you'll be globetrotting again or something. But I have to go take money from one bank and give it to another bank and then get legal paperwork to sell that second-gen Dodge, finally, because I got the transmission working. And the closest branch of OCCU is in Wilsonville. So I'm driving to Wilsonville. So anyway, I'll be coming by. So I'll probably break into your garage if you're not there. And pick up my tunnel ram. And I'll just hide the money somewhere. I'll think of something good. Dan says there's a set of rough 66 dart fenders in Washougal if they want the 66 back. Well, it's still got the dart clip on it, and I'm not using that one. I would use the 66 Barracuda nose. So that car came with a Barracuda nose, and I didn't really like the dart nose, so I thought, cool, I'll put the proper stuff back on. And then, you know what? I just didn't, and it kind of grew on me, and then I sold it, and then I got it back, and then I sold it, and then he sold it, and then I got it back. In fact, it's been through 4 sets of hands other than mine. Yeah, I left out a step there. Since I got it in 2014. But I never gave any of them the Plymouth nose. So I still have it. I've had it this whole time, and I believe it's gold. I don't know if it's all matching. I don't know if it's all off the same car, but I think at least most of it's gold. Anyway. When Mopar said to Ross that he's a 74 Charger guy. Also, blame King Richard. Yeah. Nice. Yep. See, I like those. Dave says, I remember when they were called Sambos. Good grief, I'm old. Well, it's funny because it was, I assume you mean Denny's. Because the one here was Denny's, and then it was America's Diner. Like the whole chain of them in this area was America's Diner, and America's Diner was awful. And then they all turned back into Denny's, but inside them they say Denny's, America's Diner. So, yeah, oh yeah. I remember now because America's Diner like just closed. Like all of a sudden, just the doors were locked and everyone was out of jobs. And it was like that for a bit, and then Denny's, I don't know what the deal was, but it became a Denny's again, and they kind of renovated it and everything. So, not amazing, and not super cheap anymore either. So, what's even the point? Go to a real local restaurant. Rooster says the problem is it's in my 50-foot race trailer that's snowed in, and we had snow 3 days last week. Well, that's fine. One of these years. It just doesn't sound fun. Like, it rains here, and it's hard and annoying to do stuff outside, but I never, even when it snows, it's like just a few inches, and I never have to worry about that. Russ says, I had that STP sticker on my mead organizer. Nice. Long Island Mopar still has it. Will's Garage is here and has an interesting question, which unfortunately I'm not going to be able to answer. What would be the benefit of mixing nitro with methanol in a 13.5 to 1 small block Chevy? I have no idea. I don't know anything about those fuels. I'm a regular gas street engine guy. You're well beyond my pay grade there. Ask Uncle Tony. He's probably still alive right now. You can still make it. Scott Maziar, I want to say, says, hello from Tacoma. After watching your video on your 68 Charger, I found one and brought it home. Looking forward to visiting you sometime in the future. Awesome. Congratulations. What are the details on yours? I've done all kinds of videos on 68 Chargers, but I'm guessing you mean my red one. I love that car. It's still in the garage. I'd like to take it out, but unfortunately there's still a mud hole in the way. I got to get my driveway finished. Seasonally, I just can't really drive the car. I'm very much looking forward to doing the engine compartment redo. I still have to get a radiator, but I'm going to get rid of all that horrible 90s stuff going on in there, and I have factory correct valve covers, breather, air cleaner. I'm going to leave the intake and carb because they're fine. But yeah, I got correct paint. I'm really looking forward to doing that. I love 68 Chargers. I think everyone here probably knows that. Banana is here and says, hey, I'm a bit late, but how is everything? Everything's pretty good. I'm slightly damp. It's cold. But other than that, not bad. Just sitting here talking to all these fine folks and trying to figure out what I'm doing with my life vis-a-vis I own 3 Barracudas now for some reason. Rooster's got the answer. You put your pistons in your oil pan. That's the advantage. Or a picture window in your block. And that's nice. You know, you frame the pistons and the bent rod in there. It's, you know, it's nice. Huncho's House dropped in a few minutes ago and says, stopping by for a like and a comment. Got a second job to help further support my filthy hot rod habit. Cheers, DDG peeps. Cheers, Honcho's House. Thanks for cruising on by. Appreciate it. Which brings up a good point. If you haven't done it, feel free to say hello. You can ask me questions. I mostly only know 80s Joel. No, I mostly only know street-driven classic Mopars and some music stuff. But that's about it. And also, if you don't mind, I see there are almost 40 out there now. That's pretty average. That seems about right. If you would, go ahead and hit like on the video, the live streaming thingy, because it does stuff for the algorithm. It helps me in my quest for global domination. That is the real end goal here. I feel like I've mentioned that several times. Just like I've mentioned several times that I'm not a professional. I never went to school. I'm untrained, fully self-taught by service manuals and YouTube videos and listening to people that are smarter than me. And you probably should take anything I tell you with a grain of salt. Just saying. Also, of course, as usual, we are playing the Dead Dodge Garage drinking game. I'm back to drinking pure gasoline because I ran out of the raspberry stuff. It's funny, my sister, who's not here yet, it's weird. My sister brought some, but then she drank half of them. Yeah. And I did have to basically peel her off the floor again, just FYI, you know. So we're all pissing in the same bathtub. Ah, crap. Lovejoy's got a dip. The roommate 74 Torino broke down. That'll teach him. It probably won't teach him. But that's Ford, guys. Anyway, thanks for being here, Lovejoy. We'll see you later. Oh, okay. Kevin Ramsey rewrote that comment. Kevin says, hi, I'm a new sub from New Zealand. I got a 67. I usually say New Zealand, but I didn't do it that time. Anyway, I have a 67 Plymouth Fury convertible, 3D3, 727. Transit slipping. Can you recommend a manufacturer for overhaul kit, please? Not really. The only ones I've gotten, I don't know what you're going to have access to. I've gotten them from O'Reilly, and they're branded as Power Torque, but Power Torque's just a label. Power Torque isn't actually like a real manufacturer. That's just what O'Reilly sells crap as. Same, they put the same name on their clutches and other things of that nature. So I really can't recommend a good manufacturer. Just buy one. I mean, if it's $20 or $40, it's too cheap. If it's about $150 American, you're probably in the right neighborhood. And that's all I can tell you. Oh, Scott's Charger that he bought 69. Cool. Of course, I like those two. 68 is my favorite, but 69 is also good. My brother's building a 69. And by building a 69, I mean it's actually still marinating out on the ranch, but he will be building it at some point. Banana says, I'm making great progress on the Lego Bullet Charger. I devised a good flying buttress roof. I'll show you when it's done. Awesome. Can't wait. I did notice you hadn't quite gotten to the quagmire that is the roof on your Lego model yet. So I'll be very interested to see what you do. Will's Garage said pan dart block. Interesting. Yeah, again, it's just not my department. Rooster says you're just going to blow it up. But what the heck do I know? Stacy says, love the video on Tom's Charger. What a great driver car. Would be even better with that Magnum 360. Yes, and I am pretty sure that's happening. Pretty sure. So, yeah, it'll be really good. I guess I shouldn't say I'm surprised. There are always people on every single video that think every single car should be letter stock, every single bit. Even like my truck, there are so many people that said, put the 318 back in there because it's correct. It's stock. It's right. You know, and yeah, okay, yeah, that's cool. And I agree. But there are people, a couple guys said that like putting the Magnum in the Charger would be ruining it. Your only options for an engine in that Charger are 318, 383, 440, or a Hemi. Nothing else would be correct. Putting a Magnum engine in it would devalue it. I'm doing my commenter voice again. I don't think that's right at all. I think it's going to increase the value substantially. We're not going to scrap the stock 318. We'll wrap it in a bag and put it in the corner. And whoever eventually buys the car can have it. There you go. But the 360 is going to double the horsepower. It's going to run nicer on the street. It's a great combination. I did just get to thinking we might need to put a stall in it, though. Yeah, it's not a stocky cam. More on that later. That's a future Jamie and Tom problem. Yeah, Stacy, I think it's going to fix everything that's wrong with that car. We might have to paint it the right color, but we'll see. Banana says the 68 Charger is beautiful. The stock hubcaps are growing on me. I'm envious of your job. Me too. It's awesome. Yeah, it's literally my dream job. So, sorry, I just read the next comment. Sorry, I was thinking about French Canada. No, it is my dream job, and it's amazing. And I'm totally #blessed to be working on all these cool Mopars all the time. And beyond that, to be allowed to do video. That's cool. So I'm very appreciative. It's one hell of a position to be in. I'm doing exactly what I've always wanted to do. And if I became a YouTube bazillionaire tomorrow, what I would do is exactly what I'm doing because it's great. I really enjoy it. Anyway, having said that, yeah, isn't it amazing how good just a set of nice wheels and tires with the stock caps made that car look? Because it's not nice. It's not beautiful either. I mean, it is in the sense that it's a 68 Charger and they're all beautiful, but there's a lot of filler in it. It came from somewhere in the Midwest or something decades ago. So it's already had all the same rust repairs every other Charger has had. His car is one of the ones I used for the Charger rust video. Excuse me. Man, just brutal. And yeah, there are many examples on it to find of things that you do not want. But having said that, it's very cool, and it's really shaping into a great driver. And that's what it's going to be. It's not getting a full. You're not allowed to say frame off restoration with a Mopar. Don't take the frame off. It's not getting a full restoration or anything. It's just getting nice little details, good, decent parts, and semi-correct stuff. And yeah, I'm pretty pleased with that. And having said that, I had Tom decode my broadcast sheet for my Charger, which is right. I think it's behind the Hot Wheels. It's laminated. It's actually really cool. And he told me those hubcaps are what are supposed to be on it. I hemmed and hawed, and I decided, I don't think I really like them. But then when I saw them on his car, they're pretty cool. Now, did you notice how sunken in the rear tire is? That is why people threw away the stock wheels and put mags on them and stuff. It all makes sense. So I think I would need a wider than stock steel wheel if I were going to do that. But it's pretty neat. I mean, that Daytona has exactly the same caps. In fact, the caps that went on Tom's Charger are leftovers. He bought a bunch to do the Daytona and took the 4 best ones and put them on that when they restored that car. I say restored. They didn't do paint or body. They did engine compartment, interior, and all the detail work and stuff. I mentioned that in the video. It's not really restored. It's been painted once and had the same rust repairs as every other Charger. But yeah, the hubcaps that went on his are leftovers from that. So both of them sitting together in the shop with those caps, I've been tempted. I have been tempted. Dan says, got an idea for you, Jamie. Johnny Cash recorded a song called One Piece at a Time, and it didn't cost me a dime. You'll know it's me when I come through your town. I don't have my acoustic, damn it. What key is that in? It's probably in G. No, it's in C. I'm gonna ride around in style. I'm gonna drive everybody wild. Cause you know it is the only one around. You might say I went down to the factory and picked it up. It's cheaper that way. Yeah. What year is it? I would love to do that. It's funny because that is kind of what I'm doing right now. I've been gathering stuff for the garbage can CUDA one piece at a time. But now I've got this gold one, and I think my whole plan is going to change. Oh, that's funny. Scott dropped in with the volume turned off as usual and said he needs the GMC keys. But then he got called to dinner or dinner. Maybe Scott started drinking early. He is retired, so he's allowed to do that. Usually in the hot tub. Anyway, Scott, Alex took those keys like a month ago, so they're probably in it. Dan, yeah, I'll build a Dodge one piece at a time. Dave's in Orlando. Yeah, that figures. That's fine. I'll just break into your house. It's not a big deal. Daniel Nixon is here with us and says, hello from Virginia. 65 Barracuda Formula S. Awesome. I'd love to have a Formula S. Specifically, tough call. If I want a 67 or 8, I think I prefer 67, but I also prefer the 340, which actually brings me to something I was just going to ask you guys. This is an opinion question now, and I might ask it in a video too, to get the broader public's opinions. Okay. So I have 4 A bodies now, which is too many, and that's fine. We'll deal with that. I keep reading ahead. I need to not do that. It's bad for my health. Opinion question. Oh, anyway, Daniel, I really like those Barracudas too. I own 2, but no real Formula S's. Anyway, I really like 340s. Okay, so my 71 Demon is an original 340 4-speed car, and the original engine is in it, but I don't want to blow it up. It's leaking fluids from everywhere. It has an intermittent valve tick, and there's debris in it from that stupid Chinese chrome dipstick that got wrapped up in the crank. So that engine needs to come out, and it needs one of everything, probably. I think I'm going to get into it and find out it's like eating the cam or something, and it's going to take a while to put back together, right? So meanwhile, I have that 360 fresh rebuild that was supposed to go in the garbage can Cuda. I wanted to make that the car that I put together, the engine I built, all that stuff, build it from the ground up and go drag racing. Problem is, I've realized that car needs a floor. It also needs a shifter hump. It needs seats. It needs a lot of stuff. The rust monster is getting pretty bad on that thing. So there's a lot of things I'd need to do before going drag racing. So I came to a realization recently that it's basically impossible that I will get back to a drag strip with either of those cars this year if I go through with those plans. It's just not going to happen. So here's what I'm thinking now. I'm thinking I'm going to pull the 344 speed out of my Demon, set it in a corner, wrapped in cellophane or whatever, and put the entire drivetrain I was prepping for the Cuda in the Demon. It's not a 340. My wife looked at the car yesterday, I think it was yesterday, and said, well, if you change the engine, then all the stickers are going to be wrong. Well, that's fine. It'll be temporary, maybe a year or two. That car had a 318 in it for 30 years. In fact, maybe more than that. It had around 30 years. It had a 318 in it for longer than it's ever had the 340 in it. So I think it's probably fine. But I guess that's my question. Oh, my wife says I'm not allowed to talk about her. Sorry. Anyway, so the question is this. Is it horrible sacrilege to put the 360 in the Demon, or is it fine because it's just temporary and then I'll get to the drag strip again this year? And the better part is I can be a lot more brave, because if the 340 blows up, I'm going to cry. In fact, I might have to commit seppuku. If I window the 360, I'll just go buy 4 more. Am I making the right move here? Is this smart? I think it's smart. Dave and I already talked about it. He told me it was the right thing to do. Anyway, opinion question. Yes, Ken, I did. I understood that. And I do think I gave you my answer to this. I'm sorry I actually listened to all of these live streams later to try and remember all the dumb shit I said in the moment. And I did kind of harp on and on about me not liking that color. But my point was, my response to your actual question was, I don't give a crap. I mean, it's your car. Paint it what color you want. It's not original on the tag. Oh, no. It's your car. You know, you're the one that is going to be living with it. You know, are you really, really super worried about resale value? I bet you're not. You know, not if you're prepared to invest that much to change the color. I was seeing something else this weekend, which I feel like I should bring to your attention. A lot of people are changing color on their classics and even their classic B-body Mopars with wraps, and they can look pretty good. The technology is there. You'd have to wrap the engine compartment too. I don't know about doing all that, but you know, it's an option. You could change the color. I saw this guy, I think he's on Instagram. I can't remember what he's called or anything. Apparently he changes the color every year or two. He gets bored and just changes the color on his Charger. It's just that easy. It's cheaper than a paint job. It's not like cheap by any means. It's a lot of work. But it's an interesting idea. But yeah, Ken, color changes don't bother me. I mean, if you have an ultra rare collector grade, you know, 1 of 7, $200,000 car, you're probably not going to do that. If you have a nice driver quality car that you're not worried about the value, what does it matter? It doesn't. It doesn't. The original color only matters to collectors. So again, if that's important to you, there you go. But it's your car. So if you want to change the color, change the color. Oh, and like I said, the red, the tone of red on my Charger is not the correct color. It is a red car, but it's supposed to be darker, which is a bummer. I really, really like that dark red. That is the Charger I always wanted, was dark red. Rocco Bukako says, I like classy, trashy driver goodness. Me too. I actually saw a super, super cool build this last week. I made a new friend, Mitchell, in Everett, Washington, although he's moving, which is actually how we got linked up. He had a bunch of parts that he wanted me to have. Very, very cool guy, cool deal. And his car is awesome. It's exactly what you're describing, I think, or my version of what you're describing. It's original paint, faded. It's not perfect. It's a presentable car. It looks pretty good. It's this cool copper color, and it's pretty sun-baked, so there's really no gloss left to it. And there are spots that are like, you know, primer and all that. The interior, beautiful. The engine compartment, fantastic. The entire steering, suspension, running gear, all of it, brand new, high dollar, beautiful stuff. And he said, I'd like you to do a video on my car. How did he put this? I don't know if these are his words or mine, but I'd like you to do a video on my car, testing it thoroughly. I think those are my words, testing it thoroughly. Will it do a burnout? Will it go around corners the way it should? And I'm really excited for that. So hopefully when we get some semi-decent weather here, you'll be seeing that car. I know you guys are going to love it. The ironic part is it's a 64 Barracuda, or 65. Yeah, it's one of those. I think it's got to be 65. Yeah. Yeah, the one I just got is 64. The one you're only, it's got Valiant style grills. It says Valiant on, it's got Valiant style gauges, and it says Valiant on the back. 64. Anyway, so yeah, I was thinking, hey, parts for the garbage can. Lots of good stuff there to go on that car. But now I have this gold one. So it might all go on that. But we'll see. Matthew B's got an opinion, which I think is the right opinion. And it's this. The only correct item to put in your build is what you want to put in it. And I think you might be talking about the Charger, not about the Roadrunner paint job, or the Super B paint job, excuse me. B body, you know, whatever. I guess drink. Brutal. Matthew says, not every car is a Meekum numbers matching special, if you know what I mean. Exactly. This kind of goes back to what we were talking about a couple weekends ago. Blank slates. A 318 base model Charger. I don't want to spoil the surprise or anything, but for what Tom's into the car, like, it doesn't matter what he does to it. It's worth more than he's into it, and it's pretty cool. It's a base model 318 Charger. Putting a different small block Mopar in it, what does that hurt? Like, it just doesn't. No collector, I'm going to put money on this, $20 says, no collector has ever said, I want a 318 base model 68 Charger, and it has to be numbers matching. It has to be a numbers matching base model 318 car. They don't want that. They want an RT. They want a rare car. They want a desirable car. Good color, good engine, good options. Or good color, you know, good engine, no options. You know, something that's special, something that's peculiar, something that they could say is rare, you know. An RT Charger is worth keeping correct. A base model Charger? I don't think so. Mine is a factory big block. It is not an RT. The stripes, you know, writing a check, the rest of it can't cash. I think that car, it's sort of in the middle, being a big block, it's probably worth more stock. But having said that, I don't think doing something like, I don't know, a Hemi swap is going to ruin the value. And even if it did, I don't care. Banana's already saying what I'm saying. I don't think it would hurt the value because second-gen Chargers are already worth heaps of money. Exactly. A 360 Magnum is just going to make that car better. It's going to make it better in every way. And I don't see how anyone except the goddamn YouTube comment warriors, and I'm not counting anyone here. Just let's keep it 100 on that. I appreciate all your guys' input. It's these random guys who I've never heard of that just drop in and say dumb shit like that. Like, they're just cars, you know? It's not a Hemi car. As I like to say at Rocket, I say this often, we're not painting Mona Lisas here, you know? And sometimes we are. There are cars that are like that, but there are many that are not, right? So anyway, we're not painting Mona Lisas. Every second-gen Charger is a good Charger. And as long as it's, you know, as long as it hasn't been in a swamp for 30 years, every second-gen Charger that has sheet metal is a good Charger. And I don't think, I'm going to say it. You could put an LS in one and it's still, it's still a good one. Have I mentioned you guys are going to hate my brother's 69 Charger build? Anyway, Ross says it will need a different torque converter. Yeah, it's the 380 horse Mopar Performance or whatever Magnum. It's not going to be a low RPM cam. So yeah, I do think it's going to need a stall of some kind. Yeah, but it probably won't have to be anything super crazy. We're going to stick with the manifold. So yeah, it might be one of those matchups that isn't exactly right, but we'll see. We can always recam it. I mean, I think, again, that car, the spirit of that car is cheap, reliable-ish, streetable, daily driver quality Charger. And I think leaning more toward daily driver than high stall burnout machine. Despite Tom's frequent attempts to do burnouts with the car, as you can see, it's not meant for that. But yeah, we'll probably have to put a very, very reasonable stall behind that thing. The Magnum's just there. It's really the only reason he's doing it. It's there. It's good. It'll fit right in. Yep, well said, Matt. Hot rods are hot rods. Run what you brung. I'm just remembering a couple months ago when people kept asking why we were putting a GM transmission in a Coronet. But maybe that's a different thing. You know, it's a hot rod. It's a hot rod. It's not a Mecum numbers matching special. I like that a lot, Matthew. I might have to write that down. Mecum numbers matching special. But in my world, a Mecum numbers matching special would be something like my Barracuda Fastback that's put together out of an 80s truck engine, 3 different Barracudas for parts. Yeah. I guess that would be dangerously close to Derek's factory original option thing. But anyway, that's fine. Ross says, put a 400 in that Charger. Their heads will melt. If we really want to melt heads, we'd do supercharged Slint 6. But yeah, that would help. Oh, 900 mil parts. You don't need to worry about me knowing about that. In fact, I'm going to school you. It is a 360, but the external balance weight between a 360 LA engine and a Magnum 5.9 are not the same. So what we have to use is a weighted flex plate from a Ram truck, and you have to elongate one torque converter to flex plate bolt hole to bolt onto an LA style converter because the pattern is offset. But yeah, we're hip to that. That is definitely going to be a consideration. We'll get a balanced flex plate and probably install at the same time. The Magnum engines are balanced on the flex plate. LA engines, as you know, are weighted on the torque converter. With the Magnum setup, you just take that flex plate, oval out that one hole, and you're good to go. And that's cool because you can use a neutral balancer, which you can use for whatever. So that's funny. Oh. That's funny. Okay. See, Ross, I thought you were making a comment on the stall. Guys, I know about the balance differences. In fact, did you know that the 340 went cast crank in mid-production 72 model year? And those are externally balanced, but it's a different weight, I'm pretty sure. Also, 400 and 440 are external balance starting in 73 or whatever, cast crank. 400 and 440 are external balanced. Also a different weight than the 360 uses. Oh, yeah. I'm hip to it, guys. I'm hip to it. Yeah, Banana says, as long as you have a 68, there are no wrong things to do. I agree. Totally agree. Oh, Ross says that stuff's weird. Cast crank 318 flywheel works on a forged crank 440. Here's why. Cast crank 318 is still internal balance. Basically, there was enough meat there that they could balance it internally. The problem is when you add all that bob weight, the bigger piston rod assembly, whatever, that's where they got to a point where they could not balance it internally. So they had to use the external weight. Of course, nowadays we have ways of dealing with this, and you can pretty much have any engine balanced to be internal, which is a great way to go. Like the stroker kit, the 451 stroker, it is balanced internally. So yeah, cast crank 318 flywheel works on a forged crank 440. Forged crank 440 is neutral balance. They went external balance in 73 or whenever when they went to the cast crank. I believe it's 73. Might be late 72 like the 340. Who knows? I mean, I try not to say things like that concretely. I usually say 73 or so because there's always like, well, okay, everything got electronic ignition in 73, except for the high performance options that had it mid-year 71 and 72. And C-Bodies, I think, got it in 72 as well. C-Bodies got everything extra, everything early. Sorry, guys. I just realized I'm quite behind. So I responded to things from a long time ago. I've been too wordy tonight. I apologize. Anyway, it is kind of weird, isn't it, Ross? It's very interesting. Ken, it's Riders on the Storm all the way. Have I mentioned that I own a Rhodes piano? I think I have. And that is mostly because of the doors. In fact, That's a Rhodes 73. So the bottom, is it 2.5 octaves? The bottom section of that is exactly the same as a Rhodes piano bass. And that, of course, is what was the bass sound in the Doors, at least in the early days. They did have a bassist that came and recorded in the studio on some tracks. But yeah, live, that was it. Rhodes piano bass. Very, very cool. Anyway, yeah, it's Riders on the Storm for me. I'm not an LA woman. LA woman, it's funny because I kind of married one. Oh shit, I'm not allowed to talk about her. I just remembered. It's just too funky for me. And it's not funky, but maybe you know what I mean. That's not the Doors sound that I like. Yeah, isn't that interesting? Did you also know that you can use slant 6 torque converters behind V8s in 904s for a slightly higher stall? Pretty cool. I feel like I missed something. I did. I totally did. Sorry about that. I jumped over you, I think. Tyler C is here and says, hey, man, new subscriber. Love the content. I've got a mid-80s pickup with a big block. Nice. That's cool. Sounds like a party. G-Bop Baluba is here. G-Bop Baluba. Anyway. And says, I bought a 64 Dodge 440 and it has an LA small block and I'm not sure if it's a 318 or a 360. Can you tell me what headers will work? Because of course it came with a poly or a big block originally. Okay, so yeah, it doesn't matter if it's 318 or 360, but here's how to tell. You probably will want to know this. Of course, there's a casting number on the side of the block. You can look at that. That should be on the driver's side of the block above the starter. 318 has a flat harmonic balancer. 360, depending on the year, has a thicker balancer. 318 is like about an inch, and the 360 is like inch and 3/8, inch and a half. It's just thicker, and it has a divot in it around half of it in the face. So 318 is always the flat, skinny one. 360 could either be that, or it's a flat, skinny one like the 318 with a kind of a D-shaped weight stuck to the front of it. So the skinny balancer is 318, and either of those other two is 360. Also, if you don't know what it is, it also could be a 273 or a 340. They're both externally identical to the 318 or 360. Either of those two, other than the late 340s, would have the same balancer as a 318. So that could be a little tricky. Having said that, one possible consideration with your 64 is if the K-frame is factory, the engine is actually even further over to the passenger side than the later B-body, if I'm remembering correctly. So that might make header fitment a little weird. I can't tell you for sure. My brother's got a 64, as I mentioned, but he has run the stock modified. It's got duals on it, but there's stock manifolds that have been in the car the whole time. I have a feeling that regular B-body headers will work. Excuse me. So 66 and up B-body headers will probably work fine. Just be aware that because the engine is shifted further over, like you can obviously tell. If you sit and look at a later car, you'll notice it's over there. But in those earlier Bs, it's like, excuse me, they made way more room for steering than they needed to. Anywho, I think later headers will work fine, but you might run into torsion bar or even frame rail clearance problems. I just can't say for sure. You may have to modify. But Engine Masters did an episode about smashing headers with a hammer to make them fit around things, and it doesn't affect horsepower. So just get out the ball peen and get to it. Oh, Tyler C is in Ontario. Very cool. We've got a lot of watchers in I almost said Canada again. Then I decided I wanted to say it right. Anyway. Addendum to the Dead Dodge Garage drinking game. Take a shot every time DDG buys a new Barracuda project. Okay. Now hold on, guys. You're probably okay. Because the following comment, of course, is Matthew saying, dude, I got to work tomorrow. Banana says, we're in trouble. I can't show up to work hammered from the night before again. Yeah, one too many, just like all the Barracudas. That's it. I'm glad you said Barracuda project and not project, because I already made a deal for a 74 Duster. I haven't picked it up yet. More on that later. And before you guys are like, well, how much to ship it to the Midwest? It's a rusty turd. It's a proper Washington car. So you know what that means. Opportunity for fun. Oh, and having said that, totally unrelated to anything, I was planning to put a factory Cummins 12-valve turbo on my 78 Volare Slant 6, and I gave that to the guy that bought my 4B engines. So I don't have a turbo. If anyone has ideally a factory small turbo from a 12-valve Cummins or even a 24-valve Cummins, that one would even have a wastegate, which I'd kind of like to have that. Although it will be wrong, I can change it out for one that will work. I can run external, but I'd like to keep it simple, stupid. Anyway, if anyone has a small, suitable turbo, ideally from a Cummins diesel, because I want to say that it's from a Cummins diesel, that's important to me, that they want to give up. If you're in the Vancouver area, I will be there on Tuesday. Or you can mail it to me and I will happily cover shipping. It just has to be runnable. Anyway, yeah. My sister's here right on time as usual. And she says, hi. Hello. I'm just going to assume that you've been in a coma all day. Oh, Mitchell Smith actually is here in the comments with us. Everything's all messed up and I'm quite a bit behind as usual, but anyway, that's Mitchell Smith there, who I just referenced, has that super cool Barracuda project, and says, yes, it is a 65. Yeah, I remembered. It just takes, I'm usually off by 1 year, and that's been true since I was selling parts at O'Reilly, since I was running a shop. I'm just looking at cars randomly. I'm like always off by 1 year, except on most of these classic Mopars, because I know them really well. Anyway, Mitchell said, I don't remember the exact words either, but it'll need a good nut and bolt check, and you might want to look into my traction problem. Cool. Sounds good to me. Anyway, where was I? I was explaining to people that I do know the differences between internal and external balanced small blocks. Banana says, I personally would never wrap a classic. Having real paint that fades over time just does it for me. Dude, I wouldn't do it either, especially not a 68 Charger. No, I wouldn't do it either. I'm just saying the kids are doing it, and it can look good, you know? So it's an option is what I'm saying. You know, if you wanted to just try a different color on your car, and if you like it, paint it. And Tyler C dropped in again to say high quality wrap jobs can cost upwards of $3,000. Yes, and I know it can get quite expensive. These guys were saying my friend does it $1,500 to $2,000 was kind of the range. And, you know, okay, I mean, paint is going to cost so much more than that if it's any good. But yeah. Long Island Mopars. What? Nobody wants my 318 two-barrel Charger? Glad I want it. That's not what I said. I said them high-dollar collector car guys don't. That's not what they're looking for. So us out here that just think these are cool cars, let's see what cool stuff we can do with them. We want them very much. That's why a crappy, horrible, rotten out Project one costs $10,000 and up. I'm just really cold all of a sudden. The heater's running, but it doesn't really do anything out here. Our roommate situation is going to change soon, which means I'm probably actually going to get an office in the house. I'm going to share it with my wife, who I'm not allowed to talk about. And that's going to be cool. Rich Jordan says, my 71 Challenger base model, cool, was F3 green from the factory, but white when I bought it. It was never going to be green again once I got it. Yeah, cool. And that's the thing. It's your car. Like, and that's twofold because it's a base model. It's not a collector model. Although, you know, kind of there again, every 71 Challenger these days is a good Challenger, 70 and 71 Challengers. And any CUDA, for some reason, the late year CUDAs are quite popular too. No one likes frowny Challengers. I do, but no one else does. But yeah, it's your car. It doesn't need to be horrible green again. And I'll say that too. I like, if I find a car and it's been repainted and it's not the right color, or, you know, the shade's off or whatever, but it's been on it for decades to the point that it's patinaed such that it looks like original paint, that to me is just as good as original paint. I mean, it's been on the car so long. Yeah. Like that gold Barracuda I showed, it's the original color, but it's a repaint. I'm not gonna paint it. I'm not gonna restore it. It's gonna stay exactly like that. It looks great. Yes, Tyler. A good bit of my channel has been dedicated to talking about that. Unfortunately, yes, the second gen Charger is almost unavailable to the common man now. Now, I am truly the common man. I mean, I'm middle class at best. I'm doing better than some folks, and I feel both good and bad about that. But having said that, I got my hands on one barely. It was mostly luck, and yeah. There again, like, I almost feel guilty because I was able to get one. It was my dream car. I know a lot of people want them, and they're scarce and they're expensive, and it sucks. I wish they were more attainable, but they're not. And you'd think I'd go, that's fine. It makes mine worth more. I don't really care. I just wanted that car. I was going to buy a turd one. The turd was 10 grand. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, it sucks. Feel for you. If you want one, I hope you're able to get one someday. And I've said this before too. I think the market is going to change eventually. It can't stay how it is. You know, they'll get cheaper eventually. When all the boomers leave us. No offense, boomers. I'm just saying. That's what happens. You know, you see the same thing with the older cars. They're cheap. Banana says, oh, yes. See, this is funny. I remember this too. Banana says, I remember when I watched Christine for the first time, and Dennis drove a gorgeous blue 68 Charger with a black top. I think it was a 318, but it amazed me that 70s high schoolers had those cars. Yeah, so I'm not a big Christine guy. One of my friends is super into them, and he sends me links to those types of cars all the time. Dude, you could have a Christine. Well, yeah, that's cool. But when I watched Christine, I also was very much in love with the 68 Charger, which was not the hero car. Yeah, Banana, I say the same thing all the time. Wish I'd been young when those cars were remotely affordable. I got into A-bodies very near to the end of them being affordable. Very near to the end. I had 5 of them, you know, $300, $400. Drove home a 70 Swinger, $600 from Yelm, like hour and a half drive, hot wired headlights, just fun. I just loved them, and I could just go get another one. Just, you know, I had a bunch of them all the time. And now it's $3 to $5 grand to go get a decent A-body, and it's really, really annoying. So I have to kind of hang on to what I've got. And it's the same thing when I see something like a very affordable A-body, nice, almost rust-free Barracuda, I think I just have to grab that. I mean, where's the downside? But yeah, I completely agree. Kind of missed the boat. Kind of. Caught the boat right at the end of the boat. Anyway. Bo Ridge says, it was bad enough seeing the hate when Finnegan put a 2J in the death metal Charger, despite more horsepower and less weight than the 440. Yeah, it was a 383 he took out, but same difference. Yeah, same difference. And I'm pretty sure that 383 was tired and had a bunch of blow-by too. Even though it was rebuilt, he was just always having oil blowing out problems. I know that. Yeah, I agree. On the one hand, I get the purist aspect of it. Like, I get it. I love a stock restored Daytona as much as the next guy. But not every car is that car. Not every car is ever going to be that car. The Death Metal Charger is not that car. It's never going to be a restored Charger. Having said that, there are people that would definitely love to restore it and take all the stuff off it and put it back to, fine. Okay, I understand that. But, like, not every car needs to be a Mecum numbers matching special. Let it be what it is. It's a beater, and it's an amazing beater. It doesn't need to be. It will never be numbers matching. It will never be that. So, yeah, the 2J is better in every single way. I can say that, and I love Mopar engines. I love them. They're like pets to me. I was going to say children. They're not quite like children. I don't want that many children, but they're darling, But the 2J is awesome. And that car is such a turd. It improved it quite a bit. I don't know if you happen to notice this. This Bo Ridge, by the way, that said that. He dropped a video today. Maybe that's what you're referring to. All the reactions to the Death Metal Charger in person. I only watched a few seconds of it, but I couldn't subject myself to that kind of negativity. That's hot rodding, baby. That is hot rodding in its purest form. Taking an amazing engine and putting it in a great car. And there you go. I'm not going to do it, but I will put a turbo on a Slant 6. Oh, Long Island Mopar said on the Balance Flex Plate, thanks for the education. Yes, that is literally what I'm here for. I've sort of covered that in some of my Magnum videos. I am someday, maybe someday soon, going to do an actual useful detail Magnum swap guide. And that is one of the beautiful things about it. On the Magnum 318, if you're not using the fuel injection, that's not a problem. You can use the old school flex plate. But for the Magnum 5.9 360, use the flex plate over the hole. Rooster says, he was there for the party. I like to say the party was over. Anyway, Rooster was there for the party. And we drove them in the winter with snow tires. Yeah. Matthew P. authorized me to use Mecum numbers matching special at my will, which I will. So declared by me on this day, March 12th, 2023. Nice. Yeah. Lucky Rooster. Yeah. Exactly. Any 68 Charger is a good Charger. Case closed. And I'm going to say, any 68 Charger, other than maybe a Slant 6 Charger, I think qualifies as a muscle car. In fact, I'm going to declare right here, March 12th, 2023, I so declare that the Slant 6 powered 68 Charger is an honorary muscle car. Because no matter how you look at it, it's muscular. It just can't keep up. Ken says, and he's right, you'll never have semi-decent weather in Grays Harbor, Jamie. That's not true, Ken, and it's very rude of you to say that. Once every 10 years, we have a really nice week of weather in June, and then every July, we get about 2 weeks of winter. Winter? Did I say winter twice? We had a really nice week of summer weather. I don't even know what I said. Just drink and move on. We get 2 weeks of summer a year, and those 2 weeks are beautiful. It's just the rest of the year that's absolutely shitty. I was reading this historical thing. I think it was trying to attract people to Grays Harbor. And it was just sort of bragging about the history to that point. And this was in like the 30s. And they said the climate was extremely mild with they just made it sound really nice. And they didn't say it rains 270 days out of the year. See, now we've got the opposing viewpoint. In fact, it was probably here the whole time. Oh man, I am way behind, guys. This is a problem. Crashes Roadrunner Garage says, just tuned in from UTG. Sucks that the lives overlap. Yeah, I apologize for that. It was both on purpose and not on purpose. Really what happened was I thought, you know what? Sunday evening seems like a good time for a live. The problem is, I think I thought that because it's when Tony does his. So yeah, they kind of overlap. Usually we'll get a handful more people in after his ends, but yeah, anyway. Now, Crashes Roadrunner Garage says, don't put 2JZ crap in chargers like Finnegan, and then the crying emoji. For all the reasons I just said, I don't agree with that viewpoint. If it was a good one, yeah. That car, I like it. I'm going to stand by that. Banana says, I hope I never see a 1968 Charger electric. Why did I phrase it like that? God. I hope I never see a 1968 Charger electric swap. That's how I meant to say that. I have said already that when gasoline becomes not available anymore, because people seem really afraid that that's going to happen, I will electric swap my Charger so I can continue driving it, because that's all I want. I just want to drive it. I just want to drive that car. I've also said, I've gone on record as having said I didn't care if it was a Slant 6 or a 318. I just wanted a 68 Charger, and I stand by that. Having said that, I don't want to electric swap it, but if that's what it takes. Yeah. Oh, also, there is the whole, it would be really fast and good aspect of an electric swap. But we can save that for another year. Rooster says, we also scrapped tons of them because no one wanted a gas hog. I cry a lot about all the cars I've had. Yeah, I haven't had as good a cars as you, but I don't cry about the ones I've had. I still have really good ones, and or fairly good ones anyway. And there are more out there. So they're harder to find and they're more expensive, but they're still out there. Deals are still around. So I just move on. Chris Dunavant, I'm assuming, hopefully, Dunavant, wants to know, can you put an HEI distributor on fuel injection? What fuel injection system? That's going to be an important detail. And I apologize if you are still here and you respond. It'll probably be a while till I get back to you. I'll try to check in a minute here. If you're using an aftermarket fuel injection system, yes. If you're using like a factory fuel injection system that needs the distributor to trigger it. Okay. No. So it depends. My mother's here, and she says LA woman, which is interesting. It's also just that same thing for that whole song. I just don't like it. It's not me. It's not me. I remember hearing Riders on the Storm on the radio when I was like 5. And I prefer that. But I like sad stuff. It's just who I am as a person when it comes to music. It's got to be sad. Ross says, now this is interesting. I haven't heard this. Forged cranks turned up as late as 78 in trucks. Okay, in big blocks. That's interesting. I can't say I've ever seen one later than 73, that 72, that still had a forged crank. So yeah, I believe it. They did all kinds of weird stuff. I mean, did you know they still made 361s and 413s for industrial use till the end of the big block run in 78? And those probably still had forged cranks too. So yeah, I don't know. Never say never. And that's, again, why I say 73 or so, because I don't know. And there are so many random little things like that. You know, there's no way for me to speak with authority. As I like to say often in comments on the FaceTubes groups, there's nothing like incorrect information spoken with authority. And I'm not saying I'm always innocent of that, but I try to be as right as possible. Or when I'm corrected, say so. Bunch of guys talking back and forth in the comments. Rooster said a bit ago we only had 2 likes on the stream, and if that's correct, I am offended and hurt. Let's see what we got. 41. That's still less than how many people are watching right now. Just saying. I'm just saying. Anyway. Banana says, I wonder what the reaction to your brother's 69 Charger build will be. If you're new, the Dead Dog's Garage drinking game is you drink every time I misspeak or I trip over my tongue. It is not recommended that you play the Dead Dog's Garage drinking game with hard alcohol, because it'll end your life, as alluded to earlier. Ask your doctor if the Dead Dog's Garage drinking game is right for you. He'll definitely say no. Anyway, prepare for more inexperienced purists to invade your channel. Yeah, I think I know what the reaction will be like, and that's why we didn't mention it in the first video. And his plans might change, but I'll just spoil it now. I'm just going to do it. You know, it's you guys. I was at my mom's house earlier. She is here in the comments, and she just got out of an inpatient care facility. She got her first knee replaced, waiting on the second knee now. I'm not exactly sure when that's going to happen. But anyway, she's back home, so we stopped for a visit and took her a coffee. And I snuck out into the garage and workroom area, which is my brother's little hideaway where he works on things like a 68 Roadrunner he's stitching back together. And I just happened to catch sight of this underneath a blanket. So I flipped it up, and what even is that? Like, what am I looking at here? I have no idea. It's all like aluminum and shiny, and yeah, the bell housing pattern looks wrong. That's a really weird looking Hemi, isn't it? Anyway, it's going in something, and it's not going to be a Chevrolet. But his plans might change. Dan Berg, changing the subject for a minute. What is your favorite food? And what do you do for fun besides work? I don't know. I'm on a big burrito kick right now. Breakfast burritos specifically. Chorizo, bacon, sausage bacon, chorizo bacon, etc. I do actually like actual Mexican food as well, quite a bit. But favorite food? Probably a bacon cheeseburger with an egg on it. Just get all of them in there all together. I also really like teriyaki chicken. I'm making myself hungry. Tonight we're having a, what's that called? Pizza cake. Lasagna from the Costco, which is very good for frozen lasagna. Quite good. And I've never been a lasagna guy. I must say my taste in food has improved and expanded significantly since getting married. I've just kind of grown up a little bit, I think. I really like curry too, for example. But I still don't eat most green vegetables. I like a lot of different stuff. But, God, if I had to just pick one. Cheeseburgers. Yep. My sister's practically comatose. Yeah, that's kind of where we figured you'd be at. Nice. Yes, I knew someone would have it. Rooster, now I'm going to have to give you a bunch of money for shipping. Yes, I want your stock turbo. I want your stock turbo. Yeah. Yep. And I'm going to weld I think it's a T4 flange. I could be wrong. Maybe it's T6. I'm going to weld a flange onto a stock Slant 6 exhaust manifold after cutting off some extra pieces. And I'm going to bolt it on there. I'm going to punch a hole in the oil pan for a drain back. I'm going to tee off the pressure sensor for a feed. And then I'm going to probably make the crappiest cold side piping that's ever been seen. Figure out a carburetor and party. That would be fantastic. I really, really want it. And I will cover the shipping. Let me know. Greg Loy is here and says, early B-bodies for the win. Yeah, I think they're cool. They're funky, but they're cool. I really do think the 63 Plymouth is very cool. I like the 64 Polara. In fact, there's one it's like the twin of my brother's 64 Fury in Bremerton. It's white with a black roof, and that's what his is. And we stopped and tried to buy it once because that just would have been perfect. They're neat. I think all of the 62s are hideous. Okay, I take that back. The 62 darts, actually, it's cool. It's, funky, but it's cool. I do not feel the same about the 62 Plymouth. I just don't. But 63 and 4 are cool. My personal sweet spot is 63 Plymouth, 64 Dodge. Oh, and Greg Loy, you were the one that offered to trade me a Cummins truck for the Barracuda, right? Yeah. Have your people call my people. I'll put whatever engine in it you want. Well, not my 340. But you know what I mean. Banana says, I'm not too into the Christine Plymouth Fury, but every time I see a 68 Charger in a film, it always stays in my mind. Yeah. Bullet, obviously. That's a big one. Christine. 68s. Because 70... I meant to say 69 there, but then I got to thinking about Fast and Furious, which is 70. I'll drink anyway. 69, as we all know, is very well done. I won't mention the obvious one, but of course, then you got Dirty Mary and Crazy Larry. Yeah, 69s are everywhere. I can't really think of... I can't... No other 68s are coming to me right now. I have a vision. I want to make a short film. I don't know what it'll be about. Me and Whose Army? No idea. But I want to make a movie featuring my 68 Charger. And I think I told you guys I don't know if this is still happening. I hope it is, and I hope I get to help with it. But our friend Mia is going to film a movie, an indie film of sorts, around the harbor this summer, and wanted to use my Charger, which, yeah, cool. Yep. Hope that happens. But I have this vision of that car like being a star, and then it will be deserving, Banana, of its own Lego model. Just saying. Jaybird asks, did you happen to catch the CUDA engine carnage from Gary's garage a few days ago? Yes, I did. Now, the funny thing is, Uncle Tony mentioned it. And I've mentioned this before, I do still actually watch basically all of his videos because although he's a weirdo, he has a lot of good information. A lot. He mentioned it, and he was it was sort of a technical thing he was going on about run out on your timing gears that can do bad stuff. And that's totally, that's an interesting point. And I'm currently putting together a big block Chrysler, and it kind of made me reconsider some things because I found that the crank gear didn't really fit super tight. So I was a little worried on the run out. And after seeing that, I'm going to verify that because I have some concerns. So again, great information, super helpful information. I didn't watch the video then. I just watched his. But then Rooster sent it to me. So yeah. I did go watch it. It's amazing carnage. That's great. Carnage is fun. But the other thing that's cool is that I think Gary and I might be the same person. I'm a little more, I want to say, emotive. He's a little more monotone, but in that video, it's a Barracuda with a small block Mopar in it. He features a cat, and then he makes weird noises. So I commented and said, Barracudas, cats, and strange noises? I think we might be the same person. And he hearted it. So that's where we're at. Pretty cool. I'd seen one of his videos way, way back, the one on the 318 and 340 block, because he was saying what I know to be true, which is you can do whatever you can do to a 340 to a 318. They have amazing performance potential, which he has proven. So anyway, very interesting stuff. Craig Bully says, my pops worked at a Dodge dealership in 69, so he got to unload all the new Chargers Challengers. Nice. That's cool. I didn't get to do that, but I do work at Rocket Restorations, so sometimes I get to drive Daytonas. Lots of cool stuff in my world, and I'm very, very thankful for that. I feel extremely lucky. But that sounds like a good gig. Matthew B. Had to get ribs off the grill and tear out of here. Oh, almost 20 minutes ago. Hope you have a good one, Matthew, and I imagine we'll see you next week. XLMI. I've been trying. Is that a Roman numeral? I feel like it probably is, and I was going to try and figure that out, what number it is, but then I didn't. Anyway, XLMI says, South Dakota, the weather's only bad during the year. That's funny. However, we do get 6 days of good weather for tourist pictures. I've never been to either of the Dakotas. That may happen someday. Rich Jordan, yeah, that's a great point. Time to start buying affordable Cordobas, Magnums, and Muradas for dropping better drivetrains into. Upgrade from the Malaise era, like new tribute muscle cars. Yeah, I totally agree. It's just like the Fox body thing, where all of the lame Econobox Fox bodies turned into things that people build, because you want a V8 muscle car and, they're cheap. And that's awesome. And that's the thing I loved about darts so much. The reason I've had like 20 of them is because they were like Chargers, but I could afford them. And of course that has changed now. So now it's like Volaris. Well, they're kind of like Dusters, but I can afford them. So yeah, you are totally right. Yeah. And you're right, Banana, and I agree. You couldn't hear the slow gas hogging V8. It's all about the experience. It really is. And someday I will be, and I know this, and we all will be, Homer Simpson's dad. That picture that you see online, and it's him like laying in bed and he's clutching a picture. And I don't even remember what the original picture was, but it'll be, like a picture of my Charger, like that, because gas will have been outlawed and whatever. We'll all be living on the moon and there are no roads and there isn't enough gravity. Anyway, yeah, I know. It is that. And I know that. I just love my 68 so much. And if it came to it and that it was never drive it again or Tesla swap, easy choice. Ooh, I like this one too. Yep. This is a good one. And whoever said not to put 2Js in Chargers is really going to hate my opinion on this. Long Island Mopars wants to know, how about skinning Crown Vics with Charger sheet metal? Blasphemy or okay because it saves another old original rotted out Charger for a potential restoration? The problem with that last point is you're not really saving the Charger for a restoration, I would argue, because by the time the entire unibody and the floors are gone, no, I shouldn't say that. People will do it. People will take them back off the Crown Vics and people will do it. As long as AMD still exists, people will do it. I mean, hell, you could even use a sedan. There are a lot of options as far as frame rails and floors and that sort of thing. Anyway, I'm okay with it. I think it's cool. I think if you take an absolute turd of a Charger and throw it on a Crown Vic, you're a hero, not a villain. I prefer to see a Mopar engine in there, but I'm good with it. The voice is kind of going weird. Banana says, I'd have a 68 426 Hemi RT Charger and just drive it. I'd keep a bunch of spare jerry cans in the massive trunk of those cars. Yeah, I'm able to do my my commute with no spare jerry can, but it's close. Tyler wants to know, beside yourself, who's got the best charger on YouTube? Finnegan, Weston, Freiberger? I'm assuming that's DF. And then Bo Ridge had one, Chris Birdsong's Patina charger. And that's a really good one. That's a really good one. Do I have to pick? I don't know if my answer is still valid because they're no longer YouTube. But it's still on YouTube. So I'm going to say the General Mayhem. The Roadkill General Mayhem. Because it just is. Obviously in original form, not Hellcat form. I didn't like that. And the thing I didn't like about it actually was when it was doing all those hellacious burnouts, it did this. Did anyone notice that? It did this. It was really weird looking. And that made me not like it. That and the taillights. Weston's is good. Weston's is definitely good. I love death metal, but I think it would be hard to say that that's the best charger. That's the best we've got. So no, I don't think so. Yeah, Bananas. Yeah, Bananas with me on that one. Birdsong's is really good. It really, really is. I hate to say this. It's special to me, but I don't really think mine is that special. It's cool. It's a 68 Charger. It's beautiful. It's a really, really nice car, but it's not at all. It's a nice enough car. It looks like a really, really nice car. It's not as nice as it looks. I say that all the time. But I don't think there's anything that really just makes it stand out as amazing, special. I don't think we could claim that it's the best one. It's cool. I love it, but it can't be the best one. But I'm going with the General Mayhem. Whether we still want to count that or not, it just doesn't get any better than that. I mean, yeah. Yep. My mom says part of her preference might be that Riders on the Storm was somewhat overplayed for a while. Yeah, well, LA Woman is very much overplayed now on the classic rock station, so that's where I'm at on that one. Yeah, I think Birdsong's car is definitely a contender. I don't mean to hurt Finnegan's feelings, but ain't it? Ross says 78 D300 dealer spec wrecker. Cool. Guy poofed the 400, so I swapped him the 360 clutch and bell housing left over from my big block crew cab. That dang 400 had very spun steel crank. Interesting. Huh. So my Challenger had a 72 or 73 400, and it had a forged crank, steel crank. Yeah, neutral balance. I don't think those are very common, but maybe it was out of a truck. Again, I don't know. Banana says magnums on the Volare. Magnums, as in Magnum, the wheels? No? Truck tires. Oh, Dan says cop core. See, if you're taking shots, this would end your life. Anyway, cop car 400s ran steel cranks into late 70s. Interesting. Okay. Well, maybe it was a cop motor. Oh, Cave Dave, as I can tell from his picture, 65 Plymouth Satellite here. Yeah, I think 65 is cool. 65 is interesting because it's just 1 year. And if you really want to look at it that way, 63, 4, 62, 3, 4, 5 are all 1 year. But yeah, 65 is neat. I like it. I think I prefer the Coronet. I think. But again, it's got the window. Tough call. They're both good, though. I like the stripper nature of the 65 satellite for sure. Yep, Banana. If I make a movie featuring the Charger, Banana will make a Lego version. It's already in the works. It's awesome. Well, I had to try. Yeah, put it on my tab. Well, let me know. I mean, I'm not going to pay hundreds and hundreds for it, but you let me know. I want it. It's worth it. Pizza history. Put it on my tab, you say? I don't know. Tell me what I'm mailing back to you, and you mail me an intake I don't need and a turbo that I really want. Banana says, I should try to apply at Rocket. I wonder if my Lego 68 could convince Tom to let me in. You're clearly adept at putting them together, so yeah. And Craig says, that's true. You do have a pretty sweet gig. Yes, I do. I feel very, very lucky. Very lucky. I will say, Banana, as I told Noah before, who isn't here? I just noticed Noah's not here. I wonder what he's up to. He messaged me earlier today. Maybe he's putting his Dodge truck transmission back together still. His the little band, what do they call it? He told me this. Band anchor. That's what they call it. Yeah, last week. No, I think he just messaged me about it. It wasn't on. Yeah, he just messaged me about it this week. He lost reverse and park, so he could shift through all the forward gears, but it wouldn't go past neutral in his truck. And what happened is the front band anchor broke. Well, I don't think it broke. I think it fell out. Yeah, because they just, it's. Oh, it did. Okay, no, it did break. Yeah, that's the band anchor, and you can see there is a chunk of it missing there. Oh, and this is important. Notice it's right in front of an Uncle Tony sticker and a Dead Dodge Garage sticker. Yeah. Cool. Anyway, yeah, those band anchors fall loose. And I have seen that before. Basically, the band wears out and it just sits in there. That's all that happens. So his fell loose enough that it somehow became bound up and broke. But yeah, the piece fell down and wedged his manual shift off. So he couldn't shift because it was like sitting in that gap where I think right where where it goes into the valve body from the outside space. So anyway, very interesting. Semi-common issue. He was able to find, information on that online. I know I've seen it in something. I just can't remember what it was. Oh, wow. I'm going to share this with you guys. I love Dodge trucks. And one that I used to have that I loved the most was a 61 D300 flatbed. It was a 318 poly and a push button 3-speed automatic. It was like the early torque flight, but I think it was iron. Maybe people call them iron flights. I don't remember. Anyway, push button 3-speed with no park, which is a problem because it also had no parking brake. So that was fun. Anyway, I traded it to him for a 70 short bed D100 lowered with a 318 and a 3-speed in it years ago. And he is currently doing really cool stuff. He put motorhome axles under it. So it's got decent brakes now, modern 8-lug wheels. I don't know if you can tell. He painted the frame blue. It looks very nice. There aren't any detail pictures of the truck. Here's the back of the cab. That was a really nice, almost completely rust-free D300. And it was my daily driver for winter. I think it was the second winter my wife, I'm not allowed to talk about, was here. I don't remember. Anyway, cool truck. He's fixing that up as we speak. Oh, yeah. Anyway, as I was telling Noah, we don't really have space in the shop for another guy, so you might have to work in the brain. P38 Chris is here and says, had a car show in Boise this weekend and there were only 7 Mopars, 2 Daytona Chargers, beautiful, 2 70 Cudas, 168 Roadrunner, a 60 DeSoto, and a 64 300. Interesting. Kind of an eclectic collection there. Very neat. Dan Berg says, I would love to restore an AMC Marlin. Yeah, they're pretty nifty. There was a guy here that had two. I kind of sort of met him once. I always wanted to put one of his, which was a similar color, next to my Charger, but never got around to that. Craig Bully says, yeah, my pops told me about unloading the Daytona and the Super B and a Hemicuda, all that cool stuff at a dealership in Portland. Nice. Dan says, Marlins are kind of cool. Part of the fastback look. Yeah, they're nifty. Unique. Ross says, a late model wide body Charger's goodies in a classic second gen Charger body. Oh, the conflict. Yeah. I got to say, I'm getting hip to the third gen Hemi swap. That seems just like, again, this is my new catchphrase. Say it all the time. That's hot rodding, baby. It's cool. Dude, that's awesome. You get the horse ponies, you get the fuel economies. Oh, that guy on the Strucker engine video that basically called me an idiot in the comments because I don't know anything. Conflict is what the hot rodders live for. See? This guy said, the reason no one's building old school engines anymore is because no one knows how to do it. Just like you. No one knows how to put together old school engines. That's why everyone's going to the junkyard Hemi. No. Everyone's going to the junkyard Hemi because it makes double the horsepower with a perfectly clean, smooth idle, a usable power band, an easy-to-adapt EFI system, fuel economy. It does all, and it makes the horsepower number. It does all the things because it's better in every single way, except that it falls apart and dies. So there's that. But yeah, anyway, it makes sense to me now. I've resisted the third gen Hemi because it's such an expensive swap. And it is. But as I'm doing the one in that 71 Challenger, I just keep stepping back and looking at it and going, dude, this is good. It's just right. And that's hot rodding. Long Island Mopar says, are you familiar with the guys in Europe that run a 74 NASCAR Charger in Olympia Beer livery? Well, yeah, it actually was an American team that took that car over there to race. And we have a little bit of connection to that because Rocket built the 4-speed that went in it. Let's just say it was built in a hurry. Anyway, it's a Olympia Beer tribute. It's a tribute car to when NASCAR brought a couple of stalkers to Le Mans back in the 70s. Yes, it's very neat, very nifty. If you guys don't know the Olympia Beer Charger, you should look it up. It's pretty cool. When I had the toolbox, I definitely considered doing an Olympia Beer tribute on the cheap, but excuse me, I thought a Roger Dodger would be cooler. So. Okay, I figured you meant Magnum 500 wheels. You just said Magnums, and because we talk about Magnums so much on this channel, I figured that's what you meant. But no, what I got for it are actually a set of 17-inch steel wheels. They came from Mitchell with that horde of other super cool parts, early Barracuda stuff that's going to be extremely useful to me, regardless of which early Barracuda I end up putting together. He gave me this set of 17-inch steel wheels, which I'm going to use because I'm not going to use them for anything else. It's not my thing. It's just not my style. But they're 17, so tire options are much better. The problem is I need to stick to something that will fit with only mild Sawzall and hammer action. Like, I don't want to get into the wheel well. I need the wheel well to stay intact. So it won't be able to be a big, tall, gnarly sidewall tire. It's going to have to be relatively short, but have aggressive tread. So anyway, that's what I'm going to put on the Volare. I'm not really a Magnum 500 guy. Yeah. Not my thing. Where did you say that? I don't remember. It's been a bit. Yeah. Okay, there it is. Cool. Yeah, they're just not my wheel. They're not my wheel. I'm slot mags, other mags, Steelies with dog dishes, rally wheels. In that order. Krager's aren't mags. So let me amend that. Slot mags, Krager's, other slot mags, modern interpretations of classic wheels, Steelies with dog dishes, rallies. That's what I got. Tyler C wants to know, have you seen any Mopar big blocks that were date coded past 1978, like in a motorhome application? Let me think about that, because I've seen a lot of 8Ts. That's what it says on the tag. It's 8T440. I don't think so, because I'm pretty sure production ceased in 78. But I might have seen one that says 9T440. I'm not going to swear to that. Officially, big block production ended in 78. There were carryovers later than that. Of course, motorhomes. But most of those were leftover 78 production engines, as I understand. Also, my 81 Dodge Crew Cab had a big block 440. It was a custom order truck, so I don't know if that was a factory thing or not. It had a factory type 727 with married 205 part-time transfer case. Really funky truck, actually. But I don't know if those were factory installed pieces or if it was something that they reused from another truck and dropped into that completely. But it was date coded 78, 8T440. It was an 81, but it was a 78 date code engine. I feel like I've seen a 79. I just don't know. Rooster says fossil fuels will always be around. Lithium will run out in less than 10 years. That's interesting. I don't know anything about how much lithium we got. I will say, guys, I've made comments about electric cars. I think they're the future, but not in the way they're being built now. Does that make sense? We need battery technology that sucks less, and we need onboard generators. Small, efficient, diesel or gas, or hydrogen, whatever. I think that's the future. That's more the future. Ideally, a little generator that can run on any fuel, like alcohol, or whatever. I don't think battery electrics, as they're being developed now with the battery technology we have, is the future. I think they're a stopgap. And I think no one doubts or disagrees that there are a lot of problems with that and a lot of things that need to be figured out. Having said that, I'm not going to be the militant anti-electric guy that so many other hot rodders are. I'm just not going to do that. Mr. PF Flyer wants to know, does anyone want some free snow? Come on over and help yourself. Take all you want. Can't beat the price. Rooster's got some too. Bondo Billy's here with us and says, the 69 notchback Cuda is so beautiful. I want one. Beauty's in the eye of the beholder. And, excuse me, I have made my thoughts known on the notchback Cuda. I don't like it. So more for you, Billy. And I'll elaborate on that. The reason I don't like it is because the roof is so abbreviated. It's just so short. I just don't like the look. If I'm going to have a car of that design, I'm going to have a Dart Swinger. I love the look of the Dart Swinger. I love the proportions. I love the roof design. I love the window shape. They're more reminiscent of the Charger than the notchback Cuda is. The notchback Cuda is a little more droopy, I want to say. I'm just not a notchback Cuda guy. The fastback is beautiful. The fastback's my boy. I got to get out of here. I think I hear dinner coming out of the oven, so I'm going to rush through these things we got. And I'll call it a night, folks. So I want to thank you all for being here with me. I really appreciate it. I do this every Sunday for you, but also for me because I really enjoy it. Banana says conflict is what hot rodders live for. I agree. Then he says, no, we just want actually good engines. But that guy doesn't know what 10 to 11 miles a gallon is like daily, not to mention questionable noises and a rough idle. Ah, the YouTube patrol. Yeah, I've been there. I've done that. I've lived with it, you know. I really like fuel economy, but I really like 383s too. So why not both? Why can't both exist? Why can't people decide what to do with their cars? Anyway, Dust Devil Garage is here and says, howdy. Howdy, Dust Devil Garage. Damn it. Oh, I told you, I was playing a show last night. I want to try and make it to your stream. I think that'd be cool. I will make that a life goal. HDF2 is here and says, yo, digging your channel. Thanks for educating and entertaining at the same time. You bet. Thank you very much for that praise. I really appreciate it. That is my goal in all of this. Teach you, but have fun. And I am having fun. I think that's obvious. Banana says, I think Magnums look great on a 69 Boss 420 Mustang, but I respect your wheel choices. Love me some Steelies and Kragers. I'm a Krager guy after getting the Demon, but slot mags have always and will always be my baby. Jaybird says, ever seen a Chrysler Firepower or Dodge Red Ram up close and personal? Yes, I owned one. Wish I still did. Red Ram too. I've seen, I haven't seen a DeSoto, but I've seen those. And I've driven one. Bondo Billy says, I want Magnum 517s on my Notchback 69. Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. It's not my thing, but it's cool. They're a good-looking wheel. It's just not my wheel. Yep, Banana says 68 Chargers with matching dog dish Steelies look great. I wouldn't do that on my car. My car's just a little too ostentatious for that, I think. I've noticed Dan is on a strict schedule because always right at 8, like clockwork, Dan says, good night, out of here. See you, Dan. Have a good one. Generators that run on the Dead Dodge Garage drink of choice. Yeah. Fusion is the future. Mr. Fusion? I don't know what that is. Mr. PF Flyer is working on a biomass burning steam car that has 3 wheels for less resistance. Think it will sell? No, but I think it's a good idea. Ross says, I can go to Copart, buy a 3rd-gen Hemi wreck tomorrow, and have everything soup to nuts to repower my classic, as opposed to spending years and acquiring old-school bits. There's a lot of good to it. It's not because we don't know how to build classic engines. It's because they're good. And on that terrible disappointment, folks, I'm going to go eat some dinner, and I hope you have a good one. I'll see you next week. Sounds good, Beniner. Take it easy. Rooster, I'll try to remember. Maybe call me, and I'll hit you back. See you guys. Have a good week. Buy more Barracudas.